And the new lightweight UFC lightweight champion is Eddie Alvarez. He pulled a relatively surprising first round knockout over Rafael dos Anjos. I got the full details on the whole card. In the first bout of the evening, we saw Vicente Luque take care of Alvaro Herrera. Second round submission via Darce choke. This was a pretty good fight early on. These guys were exchanging pretty well, but it was pretty clear this fight was going to go to the ground. And once it did, Vicente Luque proved to be the superior fighter. You don't see a ton of Darce chokes to finish a fight, but you saw one to open up UFC Fight Night on Thursday night. I forgot what day it was. It's a whirlwind going on. Very impressive win for Luque. In the next fight, we got an opportunity to see, this was a really fierce bantamweight fight. Marco Beltran taking on Vieira. And Beltran, I mean, both of these guys had their moments. They were throwing absolute bombs, right? Beltran was getting the best of Vieira early on, but Vieira cranked up the intensity, and as he cranked up the intensity, he started to go to Beltran's body, which was clearly having an effect on him. But the fight goes to the ground in the second round, and Beltran was actually on his back, but he landed 3 substantial up kicks, knocked Vieira off balance. He ended up taking top position and turned it into a rear naked choke finish. Nasty work. In the next fight, Gilbert Burns against Łukasz Sajewski. Both of these guys came in pretty much still being recognized as prospects. I was really high on Gilbert Burns at one point, but I kind of fell off the bandwagon a little bit in the last couple fights. I just didn't feel like he was progressing, but I would have to change that after what I saw on Thursday night. His striking has really grown by leaps and bounds. Now, Łukasz Sajewski isn't exactly, Anthony Pettis or Mirko Cro Cop or anybody like that on the feet, but Burns was much more comfortable. He was much more aggressive, throwing strikes, and then once the fight got to the ground, which is where he lives, he slapped in the arm bar so quickly and transitions from submission hold to submission hold, as well as just about especially any young fighter out there. The dude is for real on the ground, and he pulled off an impressive first round submission victory by arm bar, and it was really late in the round. I mean, it looked as if this guy was Sajewski was definitely going to make it to the second round, but Burns has done this before. I think against Charles Oliveira, he put in a very late submission, got it in the final seconds, took a selfie during the winner's circle, but very impressive win. In the next fight, Felipe Arantes took on Gerard Sanders, and this is a really bitter loss for Sanders. It's got to be. He loses this one by submission, no surprise, in the second round, and he was in control. Most of this fight, he was in control. He was able to get the fight to the ground. He is a very good, very powerful wrestler. He was able to control Arantes for the most part throughout the entire fight, but he made a mistake. And we all know it only takes one mistake in this sport to get yourself into some serious trouble. And he allowed his arm to be left out unprotected, got a little bit too aggressive from top position, and Arantes is a very resourceful guy off his back. Took a shot to grab that, to get that arm bar locked in. He got the preliminary stages of it in, and then, as Brian Stan mentioned, instead of Gerard Sanders dropping his weight to the mat to take some of that pressure off of the arm, he tried to use brute strength, which he is a super strong guy, to try to snatch and completely pull out of the arm bar. And anybody with excellent technique, if you're trying to escape an arm bar against a guy with excellent technique like Arantes, that is the way you're going to get your arm caught up and you're going to get in trouble. And that's exactly what happened. So, another submission victory, this one by Felipe Arantes. He escaped because he was getting dominated, but a win is a win. Next fight, Russell Doane against Pedro Munoz, and this one didn't even go a full round, but they came out bombing from the beginning. Well, I should say Russell Doane came out bombing from the beginning. He landed, I mean, Pedro Munoz has a chin, man. He really does. He took some silly style shots. I'm talking about he got clocked clean at least 3 or 4 times in that first round, and he took them all. Look at that shot. Just straight left, a bang, right on the jaw. And he took some overhand rights as well. He had cuts, I think, on 2 or 3 different spots of his face, but ultimately, he too takes the back and takes Russell Doan down, and he was able to maneuver this back to a point where he had his back on the ground and locked in that guillotine, and Doan could not escape. I mean, I know he had to be extremely frustrated based off of the way he was. Look at how bloody Munoz's face is. That just shows you how much Doan was landing. But it's not about who lands, it's about who wins, either by submission to KO or decision, and Munoz got the victory by submission in that fight. Next fight, we saw Anthony Burchak taking on Delano Lopes. And this one, somehow this was a split decision. It really should have been a unanimous decision. It was a good fight and was competitive, but I thought Anthony Burchak won this fight and could have even scored it. I thought 30-27, but I can buy the 29-28 on 2 cards. The judge that scored it 30-27 for Lopes, I think they got the guys mixed up or something. I'm thinking whoever this was just didn't know which guy was which. So, I mean, Burchak controlled this fight with his striking. He got clipped a couple times, but it wasn't anything compared to how many times he clipped Lopes. And Lopes did get 2 takedowns, but I believe he tried like 12. So, I think sometimes that takedown can be a little bit overvalued, especially when a guy is like spamming it. But nonetheless, the right guy won, and we moved on to the next fight. In the next fight, John Makdessi took on Mehdi Baghdad, and Makdessi eked out the split decision victory. I can't say too much or too many negative things about the decision. It was a very close fight. That third round, which is more than likely is the round that won the fight for Makdessi. He was hurt badly at the beginning of the round. He did rally late, and he was able to drop. He was able to drop Baghdad himself in the latter, I say the last 40 seconds of that round. But if I was judging who did the most damage in that particular round, I probably would have gone with Baghdad. But it could have really gone either way, and you really couldn't say anything bad about either, the decision going either way. I wouldn't have even been opposed to them calling the fight a draw, but sometimes people don't like to see draws in fights that don't take place on the main card. So it is what it is. Makdessi comes out with the victory. The guy always brings it in terms of toughness. He showed a really good chin, and he got the split decision victory over Baghdad, but I'll be interested in seeing Baghdad fight again. In the last prelim fight, we saw a spectacular knockout. Just spectacular. Mike Powell, 40-year-old veteran, was smoked. I mean, he was smoked by Alberto Mina. Mina came in undefeated, looked very sharp, and to be honest, this was the first time I'd ever seen him fight. And the dude is very skilled, especially as a striker, and he was able to somewhat hold his own on the ground against Mike Powell, which if anybody's familiar with Mike Powell, you know how skilled he is as a submission guy and as a grappler overall. But Mina dazed him early in the first round and was able to, he went and took top position, which sometimes can be a gamble against Powell, but he was able to get the best of him there, get back up to his feet. But in the second round, Powell tries to throw a kick. The kick was caught. He let the foot go, and as Powell spun out of the reversal there, Mina ran up with the flying knee. The first one was more like a feint, but the second knee came up, the left knee came up and caught Powell right on the chin, knocked him out. He finished him up with a couple hammer fists. It was a really impressive victory against a respected veteran. You better watch Mina because, I don't know, I mean, that guy looks pretty sharp. We're into the main card, and we saw Joe Duffy, who actually owns a victory over Conor McGregor early in their careers. Both guys are from Ireland. Well, he didn't need a lot of time to beat Mitch Clarke. This one Joe Duffy came out all business. Straight right hand over the top. You see that landed within 10 seconds of the first round. It forced Mitch Clarke to face plant Look at that. In the same second as the punch landed, as you can see from the clock there. Joe Duffy went to drop the punches straight down, but he ultimately ended up going for the rear naked choke, and he was able to get the submission pretty easily. Clarke seemed to hurt his knee at some point it was after he got knocked down, so it wasn't like the injury caused the issue. The punch caused the injury. And Joe Duffy was very impressive. I mean, a lot of people were high on this guy. He's 29 years old, so he's not like a prospect anymore, but he's still a very good fighter. Alan Juban against Bilal Muhammad. Bilal Muhammad's actually from Chicago, Chi-Town, even though he did lose this fight. And it was not a controversial decision, even though some people booed. Juban dropped him, I believe, a total of 3 times within the first 2 rounds. If it wasn't 3, it was 2. And he was handling them pretty much in the stand-up. He was quicker, while Muhammad kept dropping his right hand and kept getting tagged. But in that 3rd round, Juban, you see here, he got dropped with a left high kick. Oh, it was nasty. But Muhammad's chin is on a whole nother level of the game. Really, it is. And he came back in the 3rd round, and he had more gas in the tank than Juban, and he was beating Juban up. And I'm going to be honest with you, if this fight was 5 rounds, Muhammad probably stops Juban. But it wasn't, and he had already dug himself too big of a hole in the 1st and 2nd rounds. Even though he dominated the 3rd round and looked like Juban was on wobbly legs, I don't know if it was from punishment or fatigue or a combination of both. Either way, he escapes and gets the unanimous decision victory. Might have been in the co-main event of the evening. Derek Lewis defeats Roy Big Country Nelson by split decision. And if you would have told most people that this fight was going to go the distance, they'd have been like, no way, bruh, absolutely no way. But it did. Roy Nelson is super tough. I mean, this guy can take a shot, and he proved it against Derek Lewis, who is one of the hardest, most savage punchers in the heavyweight division. He lit Roy Nelson up in the 3rd round. And I think that punch right at the end of the 3rd round is probably what got him this fight, because he was taken down 7 times in this fight. Now, he did outstrike Roy Nelson 54-7 in significant strikes, but Lewis definitely lost the 2nd round. And then in the 3rd round, he was losing until he got loose and started to land some shots. That big shot that I mentioned was probably the most impacting one of the entire fight, and he pulls out the split decision victory. He asked for a rematch with Roy Nelson next because he said he wanted to knock him out. So we'll see what happens. Probably stagnating his career a little bit if he gets it, but we'll see. In the main event, Rafael dos Anjos loses his lightweight title, as we covered at the beginning of the video, to Eddie Alvarez. He just got swarmed. He absolutely got swarmed. Alvarez is an excellent boxer, and he obviously throws hard shots because we know Dos Anjos has a decent chin. But Alvarez clipped him, I would say, midway through, a little past midway through the 1st round. And I'll give Dos Anjos a lot of credit because he took a lot of shots before the fight was actually called. Herb Dean gave him every opportunity to recover. He just could not. And Alvarez never stopped swarming. Now, Alvarez almost gave him an out because he tried a flying knee while Dos Anjos was up against the cage. But Dos Anjos was so out of it, even though he fell on Alvarez in top control, he couldn't take advantage of it. So Alvarez ended up still getting the drop on him and finishing him off. It remains to be seen whether or not Dos Anjos is going to get an immediate rematch. He didn't have one of those long title tenures, so we'll see. But for right now, Eddie Alvarez is the new 155-pound kingpin.
It's good. It's July, and obviously Madden comes out next month, but we're still cranking out all the other content in regards to sports and gaming. If you have not yet subscribed, hit that subscribe button right now. If you haven't liked this video yet and you made it this far, you might as well go ahead and like it. Go ahead and do it. Don't just sit there and hit it. Do it.